Now, if we are talking about auxin, which is our first growth hormone, which we'll be talking about. Now, auxin was discovered. Let us first start with the discovery part. So, this was discovered by two different scientists. One name was Charles Darwin, and Francis Darwin. Now, if we are talking about Charles Darwin and Francis Darwin, they were working with particular canary grass. And when they are working with the canary grass, what they have observed is the calyptile portion of these grasses shows bending if provided unidirectional light. Now this was the observation of Charles Darwin and the Francis Darwin. Now there were other scientists which have worked in this field. They also worked in this field, and what they have found is the material responsible for bending is present in subapical region. So with this particular discoveries, it was clear that whatever which is responsible for this bending is present in the subapical region of the grasses. Later what we have seen, we have some other experiment in this field. We will talk about them. But before that, we will see the isolation. The first time the auxin was isolated was from human urine. And why they are isolated from human urine if it is a growth promoter? The reason is it have no role in humans. So that is excreted out. If second time we are talking about, it was isolated from coleoptile region. Okay, it is isolated from coleoptile region of oat seedlings, and this was isolated by the scientist known as F.W. Wendt, and we'll see a major role of this scientist known as F.W. Wendt when we are talking about auxins only. Now the third thing which we need to remember, which is one of the most important fact, not a third fact, I will write it separately, is the precursor. Now this is something from where the question will be mostly asked, either in the form of match the following, either is the form of a direct question. That they will ask what is the precursor of the formation of auxin. Remember, it is tryptophan, which act as a precursor for the particular auxin synthesis. Now see, we have already seen the particular isolation process. Now after this, what we see the bioassay portion. Now bioassay, what basically determined amount of auxin needed for bending, or we can put it in another word, how much bending will take place with different amount of auxin. So this was the observation here. This is what we need to find here. But before going to different bioassay, let us just first write down some name of the bioassay which are important as per your exam point of view. The most common one is Avena curvature test, and we'll see this Avena curvature test in details. Along with Avena curvature test, you also have something known as root growth inhibition test, but we will be only dealing with the Avena curvature test, Before going to Avena curvature test, we need to understand why this bending will take place. So for example, we have this plant tip, and this is the apical portion which we have, and for example this is the auxin which is present here. Okay, now when this plant is provided with a unidirectional light, okay, when they are provided with this unidirectional light, what changes will take place? So first we will see change that will take place. The hormone auxin basically hates light. So once you provide unidirectional light, what will happen? Most of the auxin will move away from the light direction. It doesn't mean that other side there will be no auxin, there will be some amount of auxin. So what happened? Auxin moves away from light. Okay, have you done march past in your school life? Anybody have done march past?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So see,
Sure.
if you remember, if there is a circle in the ground where we used to do march past, the main rule of march past is that the person in the first line should be always there in first line. They can't go front or back. So what teacher used to ask, this student which is present on the outer side will have to run fast, have to walk faster as compared to this one. This one used to go slow. Why? Because it have to travel a very less distance and it have to travel a very large distance. So if this guy is walking faster, what will happen? The line will bend in a proper way. The same thing happens here, sir. What we are trying to say here is, if you see the particular cell here of the plant, what we have is most of the auxin have moved to one side. Now this auxin is basically a growth promoter. Now what will happen? The cells on this side will grow faster as compared to the cell on this side. As a result, what will happen? The cells of this side will grow faster and the cell of this side will grow slower. And as a result, so what we'll say, auxin side cells grow faster. As a result, stem bends. So is it clear why the bending of stem is taking place, sir? Is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Now let us study about Avena curvature test. Now Avena curvature test is basically a resultant of three different tests. Three different experiments lead to the formation of this Avena curvature test. What are these three different experiments? The first experiment is of the scientists known as Boyson and Jensen. What they have said is that they have taken a plant and they have removed, what they have done? They have removed apical portion. And the process of this, the removal of the apical portion, is known as decapping. So what basically they have done? They have done the decapping. When they have subjected this decapitated plant to the unidirectional light, what happened? No bending was seen. Now what they have done is next is that they have taken this decapitated portion. They have taken something known as gelatin. For example, this green portion is your gelatin. And they have subjected the apical portion which they have cut from there. Okay. And when, let me just label it, this is gelatin. Now what they have done, when they have provided this particular organization with the unidirectional light, what they have seen? They have seen the bending. Okay, what they have seen is the particular plant had shown the bending. So what they tried to give the conclusion from here, that the particle or the material diffuse from gelatin and reaches the tip. So bending take place. Is it clear? So from this particular test, the resultant which came, that the particular oxygen can diffuse. Okay, it can easily diffuse. Though this was the resultant from the Boyson-Jensen experiments. After this, we'll see other experiment which were done. See, we'll the second experiment which we have here. One is the experiment by the scientist known as A. Pal. Now what he had said is, for example, if you have a plant, okay, and this plant is subjected to the unidirectional light, and obviously this plant is containing oxygen in it. It is not a decapitated plant, so we'll draw like this. And what you have done, now you have subjected this plant into dark. Just after providing light, what you have done is you have kept this plant into a dark condition. After giving the light, you have kept in dark condition. What will happen now? Then this plant will show bending. Will show bending. Now what is the reason they are showing it bending still? Because of the activity of the light. What happened? The oxygen which was present had already migrated to one side. They said only we have few particular oxygen. So if you are keeping it in dark also, it will take time for the oxygen to diffuse back to this side. And till that time, the growth will be that much that the particular stem will show bending. So this is which is given by particular scientist known as Pal. The third scientist which came here was Wendt. Okay, we have already seen that Wendt was the person who is responsible for your isolation from your particular oat seed. Then obviously it was working with the oat seed. What he have done is, he have taken the decapitated heads. So this is the apical head. Okay, so you have taken one head and kept it on a agar medium. Okay, so this is agar, for example. He kept this head on this agar, for example, 5 minutes. You have taken another set where agar was there. He took another decapitated head, the apical head, and he kept it for 10 minutes. Now what he have done, he have taken a decapitated plant and only transferred the agar here. Okay, agar is placed on plant. Now this plant has been provided with the unidirectional light. Obviously, because it have the oxygen here, that will penetrate here, and what you will see a bending. For example, this one. When you do the same thing with this, you have taken a plant, you have transferred the agar, but see the difference. In this, you have the concentration will be less. In this, the concentration will be more. Obviously, because here you only allowed for 5 minutes of diffusion. Here you have allowed it for 10 minutes. And you have provided it with the unidirectional light to the plant. Now what you have observed, when you have kept the head for 10 minutes, it have shown us a larger bending. It have shown us a larger bending. This is showing us the small bending. So what does it conclude is, the more the amount of oxygen, the more it bends. And it is after this experiment Wendt named it oxygen. So is it clear what is happening in this particular experiment, sir?